So we got some incredibly disturbing information last week about the ongoing climate crisis, which won't be fixed until we actually fucking do something about it. In this case, it's overgrazing. So basically, this article it it depicts a pasture of land in the Amazon that had been cleared, burnt down, destroyed, you fucking name it, for our cattle consumption. Portions of the Amazon rainforest are now emitting more carbon dioxide than they absorb, a troubling sign for the fight against climate change, a new study suggests. Deforestation and an accelerating warming trend have contributed to change in the carbon balance, which is most severe in the southeastern region of the Amazon, where there are both rising temperatures and reduced rainfall in the dry season. The most affected regions have warmed by 4.5 degrees Fahrenheit during the dry season in the last 40 years, comparable to the changes seen in the rapidly warming Arctic. There are a couple things I can say about this. One of which is that this is a point where human consumption has overindulged itself to the point that we have a tremendously fucked up impact on our environment. We don't need to deforest the fucking Amazon to raise cattle. Where are you going to draw the fucking line? But what's incredibly more disappointing is that here in Texas, we're not even close to making provisions in our in Congress, in our state Congress, that would actually combat climate change. Recently, the Senate voted to remove required lessons on civil rights in an attempt to essentially demonize the idea of teaching about critical race theory. So this article states that the Texas Senate on Friday passed legislation that would end requirements that public schools include writings on women's suffrage and the civil rights movement in social studies classes. That shit's already been completely fucking watered down. They want to do away with it completely. So instead of them even being able to recognize something like climate change, they don't even want young Americans, young Texans, to recognize the civil rights movement, to recognize suffrage. Fuck, I don't know. They might not even want them to recognize slavery. They're that insecure. That is one unhealthy fucking way of dealing with cognitive dissonance. You can tell me all about the fucked up shit that white men did. I don't care. I know about it. Let's move past it. I'm not gonna begrudge myself over some bullshit like that. It was fucked up. Like I said, we need to fucking move on. And we need to recognize it so that we're not at risk of repeating fucking history. It's important to recognize a dark past. It's important to learn about a dark past. And this is one of the fucking issues that we're having to deal with. We're so far from having climate provisions passed in Texas state legislature. Thank God that the Texas Democratic Caucus decided to walk out, fly to D.C. and break quorum, only to find out that Joe Manchin wasn't going to help them pass that, wasn't going to get that bill passed, isn't going to help get the John Lewis Voting Rights Act or the For the People Act passed so that people can actually fucking vote. because here in Texas, recently, the Texas Tribune reported that only about 66% of the 17 million eligible voters in the state of Texas actually voted. You can't tell me that voter suppression didn't have anything to do with the fact that 34% didn't vote. Obviously, you're going to have a large margin of people who just don't fucking vote. But it shouldn't be that fucking large. And if that's the problem we're faced with, we need to fucking get over it real quick. And man, I'll tell you why. It's because they're scared. It's because they know that an overwhelming majority of that 34% of non-voters were from urban areas that tend to swing left. Man, Texas is a big state. It's a rural state. But the only reason it's a red state is because we haven't been able to turn out enough of the vote.